There's a quiet ache that lives in many of us. It's an ache of feeling like too much or not enough. It's a fear of being a burden, the fear of being seen, of taking up space that someone else might need. So you shrink. You soften your voice. You say, "I'm fine," when you're falling apart. You apologize for existing without even noticing. You thank people for tolerating your needs. You try to earn your right to be here by being helpful, by being kind, by being small. But that's not how belonging works. That's not how love is meant to feel. You don't need to disappear to deserve care. You don't have to shrink to be safe. Somewhere along the way, someone taught you otherwise. Maybe not with words, but with silence. With withdrawal. With punishment. Maybe your emotions were too big for them, so you learned to hide them, to be the easy child, the quiet friend, the one who didn't need much. And people praised you for it. For being strong, for being independent. But strength doesn't mean isolation, and independence doesn't mean loneliness. You were never meant to carry it all alone. You were never meant to fit into someone else's comfort. You were meant to exist freely, fully, with feelings, with needs, with weight. You are not a burden. You are a person. People take up space. That's not a flaw. That's a fact. You're not wrong for needing rest, or for feeling tender, or for crying at midnight. These are not inconveniences. These are parts of being human, of being alive. You've been taught to apologize for them. But what if you didn't? What if you let yourself exist without justification? What if you took up space with gentleness and pride? The world needs that. It needs the kind of softness you've been hiding. It needs your truth, even if it trembles when it speaks, even if it quivers when it stands. You're not a problem to solve. You are not a task to complete. You are someone to be held. With care, with presence, with room to breathe. So breathe. This is where we begin, not with fixing, but with allowing. Not with silence, but with truth. The fear may still whisper, but your softness is louder, and it deserves to be heard. You belong not because you are useful, but because you are you. That has always been enough. It still is. Even now, especially now. So come home to yourself, to your body, to your breath. Now let this be the place where you are allowed to cry, allowed to speak, allowed to take up space. This is not selfish. This is sacred. You are sacred. You are worthy. Not someday, but now. Not if you change. But as you are, you don't need to earn it. You never did. This is the truth that will hold you. This is the truth that begins your healing. Let it in. Let it soften the voice that says, "You're too much." Let it soothe the ache that says you're not enough. You are not a burden. You are a being, with every right to be here, with every right to be held. Welcome to your space. Welcome to your breath. Welcome to your life. This is yours. You are allowed to stay, not just survive, but truly, deeply live. Let's begin there, with the smallest breath, with the gentlest truth, with the quiet knowing you belong. When you were young, did you feel like love had rules? Like you had to behave a certain way to be wanted? Like your presence came with terms and conditions? Many of us learned love as transaction, affection in exchange for performance, safety in exchange for silence, attention in exchange for perfection. And when we fell short, love pulled away. Not always through words, but through distance, through coldness, through disapproval. We learned quickly our feelings were dangerous. Our needs were too much. So we hid. We made ourselves small, wore masks that said I'm okay, even when we weren't. That survival skill became a pattern, a reflex, a way of moving through the world. No one could see we were hurting. They saw only our stillness, our smiles, our strength, and they praised us for it, called us brave, called us resilient. But inside, we were tired, starved for connection, craving to be held without earning it. Longing to be loved without performance. Your heart remembers that ache. It remembers the silence that followed your tears, discomfort when you expressed yourself. So now, Even in adulthood, you flinch at your own needs. You apologize for your emotions before they're even felt. You brace for rejection, even when kindness is offered. Because part of you still believes, if they knew the real me, they'd leave. But dear one, the truth is softer than that. The real you is not a risk. The real you is the reason you are lovable. It's not despite your needs, but because of them. Not in absence of emotion, but in full expression of it. You deserve care not as a reward, but as your birthright. The people who truly see you will never need you to shrink. They will not ask you to contort into silence. They will welcome your tears, your laughter, your quiet. They will hold space for all of it. And slowly, you will learn to hold space for yourself. Not out of guilt, but out of reverence. This life is yours to live, and you deserve to live it in your full, radiant truth. Not hidden, not muted, not half present, but fully here, with your softness intact, with your voice returned. You've waited long enough. It's okay to begin now. With one small truth, with one deep breath, with the whisper, I am not too much. I am not a burden. I am here, and I'm allowed to be. Even if I was once told otherwise. Even if that voice still lingers. Today I choose a new voice, one that is kinder, one that sees me, one that says, you matter. You are held just as you are, without proof, without apology. Stay with this truth. Let it echo in the quiet. You don't need to fix yourself to be loved. You only need to be. You already are. That is the gift. That is the miracle. It has always been yours. To take up space is to trust that your presence matters, even when no one affirms it. Even when your inner voice still hesitates. This trust is not arrogance. It is reclamation. Return to yourself. A remembering of the dignity you were born with. You were never meant to be invisible. You were never created to apologize for breathing. The air you inhale is yours to take. The ground beneath you welcomes your steps. Space you occupy is not borrowed, is yours. But reclaiming it is a tender process, because shame lingers, because the past echoes. You may still hear voices telling you to be smaller, but healing invites you to grow beyond their reach, to root into your body, your truth, your aliveness. What if taking up space didn't mean shouting? What if it meant being quietly whole?
Ow.
What if it meant sitting in silence and still being enough? The world often values noise over nuance, but you are not here to compete for volume. You are here to live truthfully at your own pace, in your own rhythm, even if it's slow, even if it's soft. This, too, is power. Power in not needing to prove, in letting yourself take up space through presence, through authenticity, through stillness that does not apologize. You do not have to earn permission to be here. It was already given when you were born. Before you spoke a word, before you performed a single task, you were already worthy, already needed. This is the invitation now. Not to become more, but to become home. Home in your body, home in your breath, home in your being. Without shrinking, without rushing, with gentleness, with grace. This is the slow miracle of healing. It begins every time you let yourself exist without apology. Healing the fear of taking up space isn't just emotional, it's physical. You feel it in your shoulders when you curl them in. You feel it in your voice when you lower it unconsciously. You feel it in the way you hesitate before speaking, as if every word needs permission, as if your presence needs approval. But what if you stopped asking? Not because you've earned it, but because you exist. You were not born to be invisible. You were not meant to erase yourself to make others comfortable. The world taught you to be small, to take up less room, to be palatable, polite, predictable. But healing means questioning those rules. It means noticing how you contort to fit into spaces not meant for you. It means asking, what if I didn't shrink? What if I sat with the discomfort of being seen, of being fully here? It's not just tolerated, but welcomed. You don't have to earn your right to breathe. You don't have to justify your weight in this world. Every inhale is evidence that you belong. Every exhale is permission to stay. No one else decides your worth. Not your family, not your past, not your inner critic. You do. And maybe, for the first time, you choose kindness. You choose to stop apologizing for being real, for being soft, for being loud, for needing. Your needs are not a nuisance. They are a map, a message from your body saying, I am alive. I am here. Please take care of me. That message matters. You matter. Even if others couldn't hear you, even if you were ignored, even if your pain was never validated, you still get to heal. You still get to reclaim space. Not all at once, but slowly, gently. Like stretching in the morning after years of holding still, your body remembers. Your soul remembers what it means to feel safe in yourself. This isn't selfish. This is sacred work. It's how we begin to undo generations of silence, of shame, of survival without softness. You can rest now. You can speak now. You can be visible without guilt, without fear, without apology. This is the quiet revolution, learning to stay. In your breath, in your needs, in your body, without shrinking, without fleeing. You don't need to disappear to be loved. You don't need to vanish to feel safe. You just need to remember. This space is yours too, and you're allowed to fill it. With your words, with your feelings, with your truth.
Oh.
The people who truly love you won't ask you to be smaller. They will celebrate your expansion. They will honor your presence. They will meet you where you are, not where you pretended to be. Healing isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming fully yourself, again and again. Even if it feels messy, even if you tremble, you are not too much. You never were. And your fullness is not a threat. It's a gift, one the world needs, one you deserve to hold. So take up space. Gently, bravely, softly. Let this be the part of your healing where you stay, where you breathe deeper, where you speak without shrinking and rest without guilt. You are allowed. You are enough. You are already whole. And this right now is proof. You're home. When you've been told you're too much for too long, you start editing yourself. You mute your laughter. You shrink your opinions. You hesitate before showing emotion. You worry your joy might annoy someone, or your sadness might overwhelm them. You become the manager of other people's comfort, even at the expense of your own truth. But your truth is not a problem to solve. Your emotions are not burdens. They are signals. They are the language of your inner world, the echoes of your unmet needs, the tremors of what you've survived. When you cry, it's not weakness. It's your body trusting you enough to let go. When you speak your needs, it's not selfish. It's you remembering that you matter too. Healing isn't loud. Sometimes it's just a whisper. I deserve more than this. Sometimes it's lying in bed and letting yourself rest. Sometimes it's not replying to the message that drains you. Sometimes it's saying no without a 10-minute explanation. You do not need to over-justify your boundaries. You are not responsible for how others react to your growth. Some people only loved the version of you who stayed small. And when you expand, they may leave. That is not your fault. It is not your burden to carry. Growth does not require universal approval, only your quiet consent. Every time you choose truth over performance, you reclaim something sacred. Every time you choose rest over burnout, you plant a seed of safety. If your nervous system notices, your inner child exhales. You begin to unlearn urgency. You begin to make peace with slowness. You begin to trust that who you are, as you are, is already enough. Even in your worst moments, even when you backslide, even when the guilt creeps in. Guilt is not a compass. It's often just a shadow of old programming, saying, don't be a burden, don't be too much, don't need. But you're not here to be palatable. You're here to be whole. And wholeness includes grief. It includes joy. It includes all the parts you hid away to stay safe. Invite them back. Let them sit with you. Let them cry or sing or be silent. You don't have to perform healing. You only have to live it. Gently, inwardly, honestly. No performance. No pressure. Just presence. You're not a burden for feeling deeply. You're not a burden for needing time. You're not a burden for taking up space. If you repeated that daily, what if your healing began with that truth? With the unlearning of shame, the releasing of guilt, with the courage to say, I am allowed to exist, fully, freely, softly. Let your life grow around that truth. Let it wrap itself around your morning coffee, your walk outside, your quiet breathing, your messy moments, your silent victories. You are not here to earn belonging. You already belong. You are not here to chase love. You are love, learning to remember itself. The way you speak to yourself matters. The way you forgive yourself matters. The way you come home to yourself matters. And coming home takes time. It takes patience. It takes being okay with not being okay, with not knowing, with being in the middle. The middle is not a failure. It's a passage. You're passing through. Not stuck. Not broken. Just becoming. Becoming louder in your self-trust. Softer in your self-talk. Clearer in your boundaries. Kinder to your past selves. Braver in your belonging. You are not a burden. You are a blooming. A beginning. A presence the world needs. The world gets brighter when you let yourself exist. 8. Fully. Imagine a life where you never had to apologize for existing, where your needs weren't a negotiation, and where your presence wasn't something to shrink. That life is not a fantasy. It is a birthright, but sometimes it takes unlearning to remember, not learning the stories that taught you to stay small, to be easy, to be agreeable, to be invisible. You were not born to disappear. You were born to unfold, like a leaf in sunlight, like a breath after holding. Healing the fear of taking up space is not selfish. It is sacred. It's the quiet act of saying, I am here, and that is enough. You don't have to earn every inch of your being. You don't have to prove your worth with pain. Your softness is not a flaw. Your vulnerability is not a weakness. The world taught you to survive by becoming less, but healing asks you to become more whole, more honest, more visible to yourself. You are not too much. You are not too sensitive. You are not too needy. You are exactly as you need to be to heal. Let that truth hold you. Let it whisper in moments of doubt. Let it echo when silence feels like shame. There is space for you in this world. There is room for your feelings, room for your story, room for your mess, room for your magic. And if the spaces you enter make you feel small, it is the space that is wrong, not you. You don't need to contort yourself to fit. You deserve to expand. Healing is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you to hide. The child who laughed freely, who asked boldly, who trusted easily. She is still within you, waiting to be welcomed back, not judged, not silenced, just held and seen. You are not broken for struggling. You are not dramatic for expressing. You are human. And humanity is not a flaw to fix. It is a miracle to witness, especially in you, especially now. Breathe. Place your hand over your heart. They feel it beating. That rhythm is proof. You belong. You are here. You're allowed. Even when you doubt it, even when you falter. You are still worthy of being loved. Not for your usefulness. Not for your productivity, but for your essence. For the way you show up. For the way you feel things deeply. For the quiet beauty of your becoming. Let go of the voice that says you're too much. Let go of the fear that you're a burden. You're not a weight to carry. You are light becoming steady, a voice remembering its power, a body remembering safety. Let the world adjust to your truth, not the other way around. You're allowed to take up space, to speak softly and still be heard, to rest and still be worthy, to change and still be loved. Your presence is not a problem. It is a poem, one that deserves to be written fully, not in footnotes, not in apologies, but in bold living language. Let your life be a sentence that never says sorry for being. Let your story stretch across the page. Let it bloom. Let it breathe. Because you, just as you are never a burden. You are a beginning. This is quiet philosophy, where thinking isn't loud, and life doesn't need to be either. Subscribe if you haven't already, not for noise, but for something you can actually feel.